They'll be thrilled. Okay. Recording is going. Oh, I should turn off this music. Okay. Recording is going. We are we? Yeah. We're good. The show is ready, Brian, and it starts in 3, 2, 1.
This account has been terminated because it is linked to an account that received multiple third-party claims of copyright infringement.
Do either of you need medical attention?
This is the morning stream, and we're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to TMS, the morning stream for January 23rd, 2020. I'm Scott Johnson. That guy right there is Mr. Brian Ibbett the First.
The first of his name, and mother of iPods.
What was your dad's name again? What's his first name?
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
My father's name is Jeffrey.
Dr. Jeffrey Ibbett.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Still enjoying his, where are they at now? Maine or something?
They're in Vermont.
Vermont, that's it. You know, my sister Wendy lived in Vermont for a couple of years. She loved it there.
It really is a beautiful part of the country. And where they live, I got to be honest, there's some days that, like, just driving to downtown Denver and dealing with doofus after doofus who's like, you know, playing around, texting on their phone or something while they're swerving back and forth in front of me. It's like, you know what? I kind of wouldn't mind the more secluded,
little country road,
life.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can
little spot up there with a nice grove of maple trees that they can pipe in every January.
Here's the problem. Some might argue that it's worse in those places because people who are on those roads, even though there are less of them, they feel more free to be crappy at driving and looking at their phones and things because no one's around all the time. See,
could be
possible.
Yeah, I'd have to ask. and say, so how are the drivers out there?
Right. Like my my wife's brother Michael was hit head on by a drunk driver back in like 2001 or something on the loneliest, quietest dirt road in the middle of nowhere in Mississippi, and of all places, got just nailed there. So I don't know. There's probably some data there.
Maybe. You know what? Maybe. Yeah. There's idiots everywhere, Scott. Idiots are everywhere.
Idiots all around us. You might even say that when we're trying to get technical issues taken care of, no matter where it is, there might be idiots on the other phone.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm worried. Like, the listeners who are hearing this from the podcast feed don't know that, number one, we're starting about 45 minutes later than we usually do because I've been on the phone with Apple support trying to get an issue taken care of.
Yeah.
That I started at 7:00. So 2 hours and 45 minutes, I guess, is what that counts as, but only on the phone for the last hour and 45 minutes. They finally said, could we call? I think it might be faster. Well, yes, please call me.
Yeah. My numbers, I'm always open for you there, pal. Give me a call. I mean, you're in your situation. You are this amazing outlier in their day. Like, there's no way they've dealt with this before.
I'm the person who doesn't use Apple Music like they think people use Apple Music.
Yes.
I think people want to see a big picture of Ariana Grande when they launch Apple Music and click on it and hear the newest Jason Derulo track.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's going on is they have data that shows most, if not all, people are using it the way they think. But then Brian wanders in the room and says, look how I do it.
That's right. Hold my beer.
Yeah. It's going to be.
Want to see my library?
It's going to be way different. And then in my case, I got the YouTube channel back last night. I just spent 40 minutes telling the chat room about it, so I'm not going to get into it again. But if you're a patron, you'll hear it on the bonus show. But the upshot is it's back for now. And I say that just because now I'm paranoid all the time about what's going on over there. It was because a listener knew somebody, was married to somebody who knew somebody who worked at Google, who then could talk to somebody who could escalate a ticket internally, which then got me on to a human being. And that's how it got resolved last night. There's still some stuff hanging over it, like the claimants. Basically, they showed that the claimants didn't give all their info. I forgot to mention that part. So
really?
yeah, they have to submit a certain set of data to say, this violates this, and here's why, and we are who we are, and they didn't give it all.
Well, geez, why should that even get their attention?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that should have been the thing that just said, oh, well, this is a temporary thing, or they should have just at least said, well, this isn't a strike yet. This is just they screwed up, and we'll wait for them to see if they're going to do anything. Well, now we're back into that pattern, so I kind of have to, they go back to them, they see if they reply. 90% of the time, they don't reply because this is all just saber rattling anyway. And at the end of the day, everything should be fine. Plus, I've gone and hidden all the videos that mattered, deleted a bunch that were a problem or that I saw as a potential problem. It's just a big ugly thing, and it's fine now. Everything's up there. I'm still putting the video in multiple places when we're done.
Do we need to, instead of playing songs, or do I need to just verbally describe the song? So it starts with an 8-beat instrumental acoustic guitar intro. Then the lead vocalist comes in. He's wearing a plaid shirt, and
I mean, you could actually sing a song like you did yesterday for Battle Royale. You sang briefly.
I did, yeah.
And I think that's enough for somebody to do a claim. I think they can do a claim on that, which is ridiculous. It's the stupid. Our copyright laws are awful.
They are.
I understand if it's like, if we are illegally playing a song, and we never did, by the way. But if we ever did, I understand that. I get that. And you should go after people for that because that's your stuff, and I totally get it. Brian pays ASCAP and CSAC and all his bum flack and boo pack and all that. Exactly. Pays it all every year. We do that stuff legally. We do it in the podcast legally, where there we can actually show it. Brian has an accounting method. But guess what, YouTube? You don't have a way for me to tell you. I can't show you because you don't even. I even mentioned it to the human, and the human didn't even respond to that part because I don't think that human has a way to put it in anything.
They don't have that little button on their keyboard that says, "Oh, licensed music." Boop, 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 boop. Nope, I don't see a way to do that.
Yeah, they just don't know. So it's fine.
See, the problem with my situation is the licensing that I pay for, ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC, and before anyone asks, when I report every quarter, I add the TMS numbers, the Coverville numbers, the soundography numbers, because those are the 3 shows that I'm licensing the music to be played on.
Right, and you're doing it
subscriber
the
counts
way,
and everything.
Yeah, you're doing what you said. You are doing what they need you to do. Exactly what you're supposed to do.
Here's where the problem is that when I get an email from, let's see who it is from today. When I get an email from Earshot Media to play a song, it's the permission comes with the email. It says, hey Mike, see if you can add this one to one of your shows, blah blah blah, let us know what you think of it, etc. That's the permission to play the mechanical license,
right? And
there's no way for YouTube to know that exists.
Yeah, they don't know. So
it's broken, and the whole system, you know who it hurts the most is the musicians themselves, because there's a whole extra audience that they could be getting that would be buying their music, aside from, like, all right, you open it up, maybe you get 10% of their music is passed around in Pirate Bay and thumb drives under overcoats. I don't know how these things work, but but then there's like the 90% of the people who discover the music, go see them in concert, go check them out in venues and pay money to get in and stuff like that goes to them. So.
Yeah, no, you're totally right, and it's just frustrating because at the end of the day, I mean, we stopped 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, 2 years ago, actually, I guess, putting music in
the show.
So that should save us there. But one of these copyright strikes was Dukes of Hazzard from FilmSack. Brian, we don't play movies on the show. We play tiny clips at the end of the show.
You play tiny clips, exactly.
It's fair use, gosh dang it.
Here's the sad thing. To get called out on a clip from that piece of garbage film.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'd much rather, you know what? Oh, slap my wrist for playing something from Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Or
anything good at all.
Exactly.
The
Prince of Tides.
Yeah. That Johnny Knoxville movie is not worth this, is what I'm saying.
Oh my God, you're right. And now we have another Johnny Knoxville movie to watch.
And I don't put FilmSack up at all anymore. So they don't get a video treatment, and they never will, because I'm not risking that. It sucks. So anyway, it's back. Go check that out. YouTube.com/Scott Johnson. There's some catch up I have to do. So you're not going to see today's episode right away. You're going to see a whole bunch of episodes up first because I've kept all those since we were shut down. And so I'm going to try to fill in the gaps, and then today's episode will go up. So anyway.
Well, that's good because I like ketchup.
Yeah. So there you go.
Ketchup is tasty.
That's interesting. Benjamin says, I suggest flushing any account outside of clips after 3 years. I mean, maybe. I have a lot of artwork from 2005 that I don't want to get rid of in there. I have some cool videos I've made over the years that I would really like to see stay there. But yeah, I mean, show files. Nobody's. I don't know that anybody cares about something that's 5 years old for a.
No, you could do playlists, right? And then say just clear out. I don't know if you can do that and just have a playlist that automatically clears out.
It won't automatically do it, but I can go in there and delete them, mass delete them or whatever. Yeah. And I may do some of that. I got rid of all the Film Sack episodes. They no longer exist on this planet. So,
you know what would be nice? A competitor to YouTube. And don't say Vimeo.
No, a real competitor to YouTube.
A real competitor.
Vimeo's carved out a nice little slot for itself, but it's not it's not as a competitor to YouTube. It's a different thing. So just a real competition spurs this kind of change, and we're not going to see it till it happens. But I would like to just say thank you to this nice lady at YouTube who helped me out last night, because obviously none of this would have gotten done if I hadn't had their help. So, all right, we're going to take a break.
So we're gonna adhere to our schedule, even though I made us start 45 minutes late.
Yeah, we're gonna adhere to our schedule
because we got to be nice to Wendy.
Yeah, right? So that means we'll have some time after Wendy's for some.
Yeah, can we talk about the Oscar thing after Wendy?
Yeah, let's do that, because I do want to talk about it. We have some odds on Oscar wins, and I want to see how they line up with what you think. So we'll hold on to those for after Wendy. But right now, let's play an early song that isn't actually going to be on the YouTube archive or the VOD that Brian will now describe, which is not a violation of copyright to describe it. But he'll do that as he always does every day. Brian, what is our sort of weirdly not really mid-show song today?
Sure. Hey, YouTube, if you're listening, put your fingers in your ears right now. All right, this comes to us from Earshot Media. This is a band called Callaway Circus. They say, you'll like us if you like bands like 21 Pilots, Water Parks, and Grandson, or if you like taking your grandson to water parks. Who likes 21 Pilots?
I'm that guy. We're going to do it this summer, and I like 21 Pilots, so I'm good.
I've heard of one of those three bands, and I'm a music guy. But hey, I like this, so maybe I like those.
Yeah.
These guys, they're an alternative pop duo from St. Louis, and their album is going to be coming out on February 14th. It's called Entropy. The brand new song is called Gray. Here is Callaway Circus.
I do not entertain hypotheticals. The world as it is vexing enough.
While I sat there watching you, I gave some thought to stealing a kiss.
Greetings, Earth Lady. May I interest you in some guacamole? This is the morning stream.
All right, we're back, everybody. But that's weird to play that so quickly. But hey, that's the way today is. All right, it just is.
Yeah. Sorry, weird day. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's fine.
If you're a patron, here's what you should do.
Yeah.
Take the pre-show stuff.
Yeah.
So play the intro with us, then play the pre-show stuff, and then play the middle of the show song, and it'll feel like a regular show. Except I guess I won't be there for most of the pre-show stuff.
Let me see. We'd have to test the audience and say, hey, how do you feel about 40 minutes of me complaining about a YouTube problem and yelling at Luke Sightwalker for being a tribalist? How do you feel about that? Because that's what I did for 40 minutes.
Like, I can tell as soon as I said, I'm on support with Apple. Apple, I hate Apple. But you should get an Android. It's like, okay. It's like, really? It's too early in the morning for this, man.
Also, I can't do those. I'm done with those in my life. I don't have those conversations anymore. We're done with those. I don't want to talk about whether Sega's better than Nintendo anymore. I don't want to talk about Coke and Pepsi. I don't want to talk about black and white.
Both things are fine. If you like it, then great.
Get the thing you like. Do the thing you want.
Do the thing you like.
Yeah, go do it. I don't want to argue about it. I hate that. Oh, I hate that.
Exactly. Oh, let me use my GIF in peace, would you?
Yeah.
For Pete's sake.
Yeah. Also, when you say stuff like that, you're arguing for less competition, and that's bad. Just goes back to our earlier point. Anyway.
Right. Oh, look at that. Yeah, it's people like you who make YouTube and have monopolies. Only free video player, blah.
Yeah. So take that, Luke. We're just kidding you there, bud. Don't take it too personally. Don't take it too personally, but I do hate that stuff. Sounds like Apple fanboy talk. No, it doesn't. All right. Let's see.
Diced tomato. You know I'm kidding. I'm doing GIF. I use GIFs. I create GIFs. I don't create GIFs. I'm just.
No one creates GIFs except the Peanut Butter Company. They're the only one.
Boy, I triggered Diced tomato with that one.
Get GIF and GIF, man. It's still a competition. It's still a scary thing. All right, let's give Wendy a call.
You don't call it a graphical interchange format.
No, you don't call them a giraffe at the zoo, do you?
Right.
Right. Hi, Wendy.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. I'm so good. I'm going to play this.
Something wrong, Batman? Has anybody seen Wendy?
You don't want to know that she farts.
There you go. New version. Yeah.
I do, actually.
Oh, do you though?
I think that was in reference to my mother or something. So, no.
Oh, it's about like the hot girl.
Oh, the hot
Yeah,
girl.
that she
Yeah, because
farts.
they all fart. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And some of them,
Woo!
man. I mean, have I told Wendy? Have I told you the story about the cheerleader in high school at Brighton that I dated?
No.
Okay, so I was a
You
nerd.
dated a cheerleader, first of all.
I know, right? This is the big shocker. Don't rub it in. Anyway, so back in the day, I dated a cheerleader, and she wanted to go out with me, but she didn't want me to make a lot of noise about it because I was a nerd, and her jock friends would think it was weird.
Oh my God, it's a John Hughes film.
Now we got it. Okay.
So it was kind of a John Hughes film. It kind of was. So she liked me, though. She was in my art class. And we went out on a date. And she was super forward. And so there was some kissy-kissy going on in the car. And about, I don't know, 5 minutes into this little high school makeout session, I hear... and I went, oh. I knew it wasn't me. And I'm trying to sort of ignore it. But then the car smells like hot, steaming garbage, like the worst fart of all time. And I just and I looked at her and I couldn't. She was suddenly the ugliest girl I'd ever dated. Like it was really hard for me to. It was hard for me. Yeah, it was really hard for me to get past it. Now again, Brian. I'm like 16. I'm an idiot. You know, whatever. You're a
I would
teenager.
think even like that's even the age of like when you're competing to see who can drop the biggest egg. You know,
when
like,
you're with your friends, you have a girl. No way on a date. No girl or guys trying to out fart each other on a date. Not yet. That's not enough date. That may be fifth or sixth date, maybe. But she.
By the way,
PS?
video appears to be down. By the way.
Oh, sorry, chat. It's back now.
And P.S. A friend of mine's like, oh, I want to listen to the show. And I was like, all right, if you want to hear a 50-year-old guy talk about farts, and look at you doing it.
Oh no, this is gonna be the first one they listen to. That's bad.
The prophecy has completed.
Yeah,
fulfilled.
but I remember just not being able to take it seriously. I just had to take her home. It was just like I couldn't go out again. She was so embarrassed. She kept saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." She kept saying. Anyway, it was bad. It was like rotting cabbage.
You know,
all right.
When I see you all in Vegas, when I see those of you who come to Viva TMS Vegas, and I give you a big old hug, I don't care if you fart.
Oh no, that's fine. Now these days, I don't care, man. Let it rip.
Matter of fact, if I start hearing a fart while I'm squeezing you, I'm gonna squeeze you harder to see if I can get a tune.
Yeah, finish it out. Why not?
A tune.
That's right.
Wendy, it's
gonna play you like a set of bagpipes.
You're here again with us, which is, you know, despite all odds, Wendy likes coming on here, I think, and hanging out with us. I like having her on too because she's here to do a good service. She helps a bunch of people with problems, and we're always happy to do that. You got an email that you shared with me via text that I'm going to read, and that'll be today's topic. So here you go, everybody. I'm going to read this. I'm reading it right from my phone. Dear Scott, Wendy, and Brian, I'd like to think of myself as a pretty sensitive, helpful guy. I try to be there for those in need and lend a listening ear when I can. Well, that's good, right?
So far, so good.
Says, well, I have a friend whose wife left him and is fighting hard to prevent his parental visitation rights. I've talked a lot with him, and I'm trying to be supportive, but it's just so much drama. She left him because he had a homosexual infidelity, an affair basically, and he is dealing with how coming out is affecting his other relationships as well. He was let go because of his court battle, was interfering with his ability to work. His lack of job is making him appear to be less of a fit father, and add to that the expense of a lawyer and selling a house as part of a settlement, divorce settlement. And he's just really struggling it all over, including depression and anxiety as well. I feel for him, I really do. but how should I be dealing with this situation without feeling overwhelmed? So Wendy,
'Cause that's a lot.
yeah,
That's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot of stuff to be a friend for. And also, as he said at the top, he thinks of himself as a sensitive, helpful guy, someone who's there for people in need. Sounds like his friend is definitely a person in need, but also doing a little self-sabotaging at the same time. So where do you go with this one? Where do you start?
Well, okay. So the person writing in, I don't actually have any name. So the person writing in, there is this interesting thing we all have, right? Which is we sort of see how we see ourselves, right? I am pretty sensitive, helpful guy, right? I like that about myself. It's part of my self-identity. I help people in need, a listening ear, etc. So you kind of have this way you think about yourself, and then a friendship, and I'm going to put friendships in quotes because I think that can really vary what that means for different people. So if you're this sensitive, nice guy and you kind of help everybody out, you probably have a lot of friends, quote unquote friends or acquaintances that feel good, or, you know, you're close enough, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. But then suddenly, like, the poop really hits the fan. This is a lot going on for this guy. And that friendship is tested in a way that might not otherwise. Like, maybe before you just would go bowling, you know, like it was
right.
oh,
It changes the
kids are bugging me.
dynamic of your whole relationship with that person.
It really does. And it really does put into question, like, the strength or depth of that friendship. And so, you know, my sense is so much strong. Like, what does he say? I've talked with him a lot. I'm trying to be supportive. So you may wonder if this is happening, because there's maybe, let's say there's 10 other friends in this friendship sort of circle around this person.
Right.
And maybe this tests the limit on all of theirs as well. So it sounds like he obviously had a wife and kids and was probably in a scene that was similarly structured, right? Other families, other people in his life circumstances. And maybe some of them are going to have real problems with what he did. Obviously, the affair aspect of it, who knows what people's issues might be around this, right? So you're having people either drop like flies, or they weren't actually really friends to start with, or they're just like, I'm busy. And so maybe this guy, being the sensitive, nice friend, is getting the most of it, is hearing most of it. So then the pressure starts to build on him. First of all, has this ever happened, not this exact thing, but happened to you guys, where a friend went from, like, you know, we have
like,
very
no,
superficial.
right, like we're all at the surface level, and all of a sudden it's like, can I talk to you, tell you what's been going on in my life? You know, I'd love to hear it, but the bill's coming, and I got to get back home. Thanks.
Yeah.
Right. Can we keep it superficial? Because that's what I was voting for here, right?
I've had a similar situation to this exact thing, and sadly we're not
like exact thing.
Almost exactly, not exactly, but pretty close to this. Take out the
Scott is the friend.
take out the homosexual part, and it's basically it's exactly the same. It's just somebody cheated on somebody, and then that resulted in divorce. There was jobs lost. There were constant texts and phones conversations trying to help a person, and then eventually it just sort of faded out. Like, he's just not around anymore. So I don't know if I did something wrong there. I may have, but it did start to feel a little overwhelming. It was like, man, I can't just be your dumping ground, especially because he's not making any real progress to fix anything. And so it just felt like I was just like a sounding board, and that was it. And that felt wrong too. So,
which is perfect. You said that, because that's actually where I'm leading with this.
Yeah, is
that obviously the guy writing in is not the guy whose life is in shambles. So hopefully the guy whose life is in shambles can get some help, because he's got a lot going on with, and I don't know if he's coming out for the first time in his own experience as well. Like, this may all be just, you know, all the things. But for the guy who is the friend, this idea that your ability to help someone, especially because it's really worked in the past. It sounds like he's like, I just picture him opening doors, like, oh, help you change your tire, you know, like stuff he can fix, quote unquote, or help with. There's something physical that tends to be very appealing to a lot of people. I know for me, it's like, do you need food? Like, I'm always like, I can bring food. Food's a thing I can help you with, right? Or let me take a kid off your hands, or, you know, we can shovel your driveway. There's things you can get done that can be really helpful for people. I think this is why we do better when someone has cancer than someone has a mental illness or some other challenge, because we just like, oh, okay, let me physically do something you physically cannot do or whatever, right?
Right. And it's also tangible, right? It's like a thing you can see the results of, all that stuff. Sure.
And
very crucial to our well-being.
And it has a starting point and an ending point.
Yes.
I've made the food, I've brought the food, I've dropped the food, and I've left.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, kind of. Sure.
Right, because you really are moving in and out of, like, let's just imagine a scenario where these two guys are going to lunch, right? Okay, so Jimmy is the guy who wrote the email we're just saying. So Jimmy and Dave. So Jimmy is gone to his work day, just doing his things, having some meetings, and then he goes and meets Dave for lunch, and he enters a different realm, right? So I am very good at this because this is what I do every hour is I switch rooms, right? I'm with one person with their challenges, and then I like go to get a snack and in the snack time, I'm just me. I probably do some laundry. I mean, there's other things on my mind. And then I enter as another space with another person who's struggling with their things. But it's really contextualized, right? It's like sit down in a chair, do your thing, get up, have a different life. That's part of what my profession is. But for the average person, it's like, I'm always their friend. Oh, and now they're in need. So I switch from my normal work day where things are fine to, okay, this is really heavy. And here's what we do is we take our skill set that we use all the time into that lunch. So our skill set tends to be, what's the problem? What are the aspects to this problem? What do we need to do to fix it? And so you go in listening as I can help you or I can't help you, which is why this is so overwhelming. And I know what I'm suggesting here is like not easy and takes a lot of years of training, but it's the idea of seeing that space that you're entering with that person as a very different thing than the rest of your day, which is you can't fix it. There's nothing you're going to do. Don't give any suggestions like you are going to fix it. You can ask some questions and you can listen.
Yeah.
But, and here's even one particular way to think about it, especially if anyone's got a lot of drama going on. Sometimes they just need to get it all out. They just need to say all the things. And so you just leave space for them to say all the things, and you can just be quiet and say, wow, that really sucks.
I've learned to do that with Tina a lot. Like if she talks about stuff that went on in her day, it goes back to something I think we all learn as men, that sometimes we're not there to fix things. Sometimes we're just there to kind of listen and commiserate and try and
help.
So
which is enough of fixing that you could do, right? It actually is it's a fix, but our brains, I mean, I think of sort of the project manager life, right? Like, well, we got a stand-up meeting at 2, and we got what are you working on? And so everything is like geared towards
give me a project plan by 5 p.m. and have it on.
Exactly. And then we got a launch date, and here's these mishaps. You are constantly fixing. And if you work with mechanical things, you're constantly fixing. That's kind of human. So it really is very, very different. But if for some folks to think of it as, oh, the fix is just to sit and listen and say a couple empathetic things like, that sucks, I'm sorry, we care about you. Just one little sentence here or there, and that's your job. That's all you have to do. And when the person's like, what do I do? What do I do? And they want you to answer all the questions or solve things for them, or man, it's like putting catnip in front of you. Like, well, I think what you could do is no, you don't know, especially if you've never been through any of this.
Boy, if I've had a nickel for every time this has happened to me.
Well, let me ask you. Well, and because here's what happens. There's a couple choices. One is they overwhelm you, and you then have to set some boundaries because it's sucking your life dry. You can't do it, right? And then you end up, and that person, all their experiences is like, I have no friends, everyone's left me, but they're still in trauma. They're still struggling. They don't know how to not make it an unequal relationship at the moment, right? So that's very common. That's often what happens. People just push you away, or just sort of like ignore you, coast you a little bit, or okay. But there's something incredibly powerful about just having someone sit with you and be present. They don't actually need to do anything. And so that idea of how to handle the fix it urge is see that it's you are helping by listening. And here's a big one. Reflect back what they can do. So for example, if you said, oh, and this is happening in the lawyer and I'm spending all this money and then I lost my job and they're just like, what am I supposed to do? And you're just like, wow, what do you think you'll do? Mm-hmm. And you just hand it back. Mm-hmm. Right?
That's interesting. So like just that whole thing where I do this sometimes with like an interview, someone will say, well, you know, they'll ask me a question and I'll go, well, that's interesting. Why do you think that is? You know, like I'll just whip it around so that I don't have to answer it. Because first of all, it's not my interview, it's theirs. And second of all, you know, I don't think I'm prepared to answer it, and I really want to hear what they say. And a lot of times that works. They just straight up go, oh, well, I think, and they'll go into it. So it sounds,
I think as parents, we do this as well because we want to just give our kids the tools to solve their own problems and not, you know, have us answer everything. It's like, well, okay, so how did you feel when you ran over the hobo with your car? Yeah, well, maybe you should go back. What do you think you should do?
Has this happened?
Just hypothetically.
Yeah, real specific there, but that's fine.
I mean, and here's the thing about this. This works in so many situations when it's not yours. It's not yours to take. So identify what is yours. So for Jimmy, what is his friendship to give, right? His sensitivity, his helpfulness, his who he is, that he's proud of. He likes it about himself. It's an identifier that feels good. And here's where we get tricky, right? That gets threatened when he can't fix the problem or help him in any sort of significant way, at least in his mind, because that's who I am. So my very core can't do this. So then you have all sorts of weird stuff that can stem from that. But stick with, okay, who are you? You're that guy? Great. Well, that guy, here's a tool that you just didn't know you had. And that is just sit down, listen, eye contact. Every once in a while go, whoa, you know, and, you know, you're amazing. And I'm proud of you and I'm here for you. You can say those things. You fix nothing. All you've done is said, you're not alone. And you're still the sensitive, helpful friend guy. And
you get to keep that line as your intro to your emails. You get to keep
you can keep that forever.
You're there for your friends when they need you.
Right. And but what you didn't have to do is carry that person's ginormous backpack of garbage and do something with it. First of all, none of us can handle that because we all have our own backpacks full of garbage. It's impossible.
Right.
And so when somebody does try to take on someone else's garbage like that, you got to be worried about why they feel the need to do that. So some of this is just human, right? It's human to be like, oh, let me help you carry that garbage bag. Like, ugh, that's rough. But in these very complicated situations, and especially when mental illness is involved, you said that at the end, right? Including depression and anxiety, and challenges with thinking or, you know, managing emotions or sleep or, you know, all of the various things that can come with all of this stress. What are you going to do other than refer them to like a great massage therapist? And, you know, I don't know, right? Like you have to do your best to just be present. That is the biggest gift you can really give anybody.
Yeah.
Is this email fresh enough that you know, he's got time to respond, or has some time already passed where he may not have done anything? He may have, like, I don't know, faded out of stepped back further into the background and not helped this guy, or is it pretty fresh that he can still do something about it?
Well, I think it's still sort of fresh, not like last week fresh, but I do think what you'll probably see. So I'm just going to be predictive here. I'm not sure this is accurate at all. Yeah. But let's say it's pretty recent, and so he can make this effort of sitting down and listening, and you know, helping this person not feel alone, and just that you're there. But again, handing back the problem to the person. And what will likely occur if this is such a rift in somebody's life.
Yeah.
Right. They're going along. They've got a number of kids. That probably means they live somewhere where their kids are in school. You know, like a whole world is upside down. it's likely your run-in as an adult with someone like this is going to change significantly. So your friendship, maybe you've been friends since kids, I don't know this, but that might be a different story. But this may be proximity based, right? Like you've worked together, or you're neighbors, or you both go to the same gym. But when someone's life just is in turmoil, they often end up moving, getting a job somewhere else, or buying a home in a different neighborhood. Like you ending up maybe not as connected naturally. And that happens just all the time, right? That's the nature of adult friendships, can be really tricky this way. Because unlike when you're in college or high school, you're just around people sitting there, right? Like you get time to build some things. Whereas, maybe coworkers, there's still some of that, but for the most part, you're supposed to be working. Anyway, so it may just be that it fades for those reasons, because he is going to maybe be moving or doing other things. I think I would counsel the guy to just let it be what it is, rather than, and I'd ask lots of questions like, tell me your history of helping people with overwhelming, difficult things. Do you hang on and put yourself at risk, and those kinds of things, to find out. Because sometimes we're motivated by various issues from when we were younger, or just a really deep sense of obligation to somebody else when it might not be healthy for you. So there'd be some questions around that. But really the logical, obvious thing that's probably going to happen is there will be some natural separation. So what do you do with that? Well, you listen, you're available, you're helpful, you help them move. And some people are Tasmanian devils a little bit, right? Where they're just always going to spin up some drama. They'll find another place to do some of that drama, and you can keep your helpful guy self-image intact.
Keep your status.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of important, right? Because you do want them to. Isn't part of healing is knowing somebody is out there that's empathetic to your problem. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt to have them say, "Oh, he's always a good friend to me. I'm working on my stuff, but thank goodness he was here to listen to me. I think that really helped me during that time," or whatever. That's better than saying, "Well, I'm getting my poop together, but all my friends abandoned me." Like, because your chances of doing okay after that kind of abandonment I have to think that's less.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, your support system. I mean, and then whenever I work with anyone, I'm part of the interviewing process and getting to know them is, tell me about your support system. And the stronger that is, the better outcomes for everyone always, because we are a collective species. We don't live in isolation, though we do live in isolation. Our optimal survival and feeling good requires other people, and animals and connections and, all sorts of good things. And that's what's so tricky and devastating about a divorce. Even just like a straight up, we're not getting along, this isn't good for the kids, we're ending this, is that rift right there, you suddenly have, well, turns out they were all my wife's friends, or nobody's talking. And often men have the brunt of this challenge because they don't spend maybe the same energy or time cultivating those connections. This is not everybody, obviously. But you will often see, at least my experience has been as well, that, the wife has been going to lunch with all the neighbor ladies, or is connected to somebody at the school, or that, and dads can do this too, but one of the partners oftentimes will just maybe be a little more isolated. And then suddenly your whole social dynamic shifts, and that is traumatic for anybody. And so this is hard. So anyone who's consistent, and anyone who's still there, and anyone will answer the phone when you call, can be really important. Now, if I could talk to the guy who's been in trouble here, Dave, is that he get help, obviously, but also that he recognizes maybe some boundaries with talking to other people about his stuff. This is tough, right? When you are in this much pain, you're willing to tell the lady at the grocery store every detail.
Right. Yeah.
And so be very careful, not very careful, but just recognizing people aren't just jerks. Sometimes you're throwing up too much on them.
Yeah.
And this is why a therapist is so important. In fact, as we're talking, I'm just thinking, this is why my whole profession exists. In the end, right? Someone who is going to help you process through some stuff and you're not bothering them because you've paid them.
Right.
Right? I mean, kind of the reality of it.
Yeah. It's funny you said, when you're in enough pain, just tell anybody. It seems like this is what happens when I've been at like a homeless shelter or somewhere where somebody's dealing with some serious something, right? Their whole life has led to this sort of thing. They all want to just talk to you and tell you everything about everything. And they don't want to stop. They just want to go, well, last week I was in the thing doing the stuff, and those guys kicked me out, and they just want to go on and go on and go on. This happened to me downtown like a week ago, so that's why it reminds me of it. And it feels like they're just at the apex of that, right? Like the peak of I want to tell them everything I believe, how I've been wronged by society and everything else. And maybe what would have helped them is if somewhere down earlier in their life they'd have had somebody who actually was empathetic to their cause, and maybe they wouldn't have gotten there. I don't know. That's an esoteric question we can't answer.
Well, and let's just take you for 1 week and have you talk to no one.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I think we're in the same boat, right?
Yeah, that would be.
It's crucial. Like, if I can't tell Adam some stupid facet of my day, if I feel like it's like a bottle that will burst 2 days later, like I had to say this stupid thing. Like, I actually feel like I download, like, okay, can I just download the lamest 5 thoughts I've had today? And I download them, and he's like,
Perfect. Yeah.
And it really, so this is that human connection. And this is why loneliness is an epidemic. It's not simply, well, just get out there and do some things. I mean, we have a lot of things in life that have geared us a little more and more towards sort of self-sustaining isolation, right? Like, I don't have to leave my house if I don't want to, or talk to my neighbors, or interact much with the world. And so that's enabled by the reality of, but also then it makes us a little more even skittish when we do go out and talk to people, because we're like, oh gosh, people are stupid. Like, I have to tell you, I had a little PTSD. I saw this Instagram meme or something of a on the freeways, the signs,
sure,
like slow down or wear your seatbelt.
Sure.
That
I think you meant billboards. Okay.
Oh, the lit ones.
The
right?
lit ones, yeah, they're
Yeah.
over on the overpasses. Yeah. So I saw one, and I instantly could see the mountains in Utah, behind it. And it was an image of, it said, it's a lane, it's not a birthright, let people in. And I had
awesome.
I had like a because I cannot stand driving there. It is the most irritating place to drive because the Utah wall, where everyone's going the same speed in every lane on the freeway, like that exists nowhere else. By the way, Scott.
That's not entirely true. I ran into that. I've run into that in a few places, other states, but I will say the Utah block, which is what you're referring to, sucks. It's where you'll be on like a brand new 6-lane highway. They just finished it, and you're all driving down it, and then you suddenly realize, wait, I'm behind somebody and he's going too slow, and he is parallel with 4 other cars that are going the exact same speed right next to each other, and they just end up there together. They don't know each other. They're just there, and they call it the Utah block.
Commercial.
Oh, it sucks. It really does suck. It's the worst thing ever. But
I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little PTSD for me just reading that and going, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. And the birthright thing. Like, really, you think you own this? You do not own this.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't even know how I got on this, but it's stuff like that I have to download at the end of the day. If I don't just express a few of those things, then it builds up. But just that idea of like connection or support or finding your people. I mean, the internet's amazing that way, but it also can really isolate. There's value and challenges that come with it, of course, but that connection and being able to say what happened in your day. So, like, for example, and this is happiness studies they do around the world, and which cultures and which societies do better in various ways. And one of the questions they always ask is, do you have someone you could call in the middle of the night if you needed something, if it was an emergency? And that is massively important to someone's sense of I'm okay or I'm safe.
Right.
And so you take maybe somebody in a homeless shelter who is not had someone to call in the middle of the night that could help them maybe for many, many years or their whole lives. And then you end up just this sort of, it's like a disease of loneliness or disconnect or on your own. And so people start to talk to themselves and have other things that go, it really is, it's really sad. And so that's, my heart goes out to this guy because I want him to, keep his identity as being awesome, but also, feel like he's helpful. And then also for that other guy not to get sort of isolated, like so common to have happen because so much has changed. So
yeah, and getting isolated is like this other thing I notice about people who are like on the street talking to themselves. Mm-hmm. They're 30 of them all walking on the street, but they're all talking to themselves, not to each other. Like it's this weird alone together thing.
If only all those crazy people would talk to each other.
Well, I think you're mixing up a couple things because, by the way, there is a Facebook group where the homeless in, I want to say it's LA, they share tips, where to go, where to get food. I mean, they're using Facebook, right?
Sure.
And actually talking to yourself in specific ways is a certain kind of mental illness versus
right.
me talking to myself. Now I have a dog, so I don't talk to myself. It's great.
Oh yeah. Now you have a dog to talk to. It's awesome.
I know. He doesn't.
He doesn't respond though, right? He doesn't do what you want.
He doesn't
but it's
tell
great.
me back what he thinks. I was like, "What do you think of this?" He's like, "I got nothing."
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah. Anyway, what was my point? No, I didn't have a point. You were making a point.
I think I made my final point.
I think you made your point.
Jimmy and Dave, take care of yourselves.
Yes, that's a good idea. All right, I got a question for you. How close are you ready to announce your rad new thing you're working on?
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh my gosh.
I'm ready. Yeah.
You have links and everything, like all sorts of stuff?
Well, okay. So thank you, Scott, for naming this for us. It's awesome. It's a great name.
I came up with a name. What's the name?
Came up with the name. So we picked Real Steps.
Real Steps.
Real Steps.
It's a pretty good name.
The buzz. That was nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So everyone right now, go to www.realsteps.org. Yeah, org, because we're a freaking organization.
I'm surprised
also,
you got that domain.
$10,000 for the other one. So anyway, realsteps.org.
Yeah.
And it's not live yet because there's a lot of back-end pre-screening tools and questions and lots of things. It's almost ready. It just wasn't ready by 11 a.m. today.
Yeah,
So what you're going to do is you're just going to put your email address in there. I promise it's not getting sold or used for anything other than to tell you, here's the form. If you're interested, here you go.
Yeah, we know where to find you in case this is a problem. It's good.
Totally. You can hunt me down. So go to realsteps.org and put your email address, subscribe. So it should be sent out to you Monday. I will also send a link to you, Scott. Maybe you could post that on your...
Yeah, I just put it in the chat. I just put it in the chat room, and we'll put it in the show notes and other stuff. No problem.
Okay, and so let me explain a little bit of what's going to happen. So there's everyone who signs up to do it, and there is a fee because this is a lot of work that we will be donating, really, probably in the end anyway. But so there's a fee to participate in the group, and the group is going to be lots of amazing, cool stuff. We're going to work. So the nutritionist, Elena is her name, by the way, Elena, everybody. Elena, and you'll get to meet her and stuff about her too. And so she's going to do lots of work with that type of thing and goal setting and all of the stuff to get you, because here is the plan. The plan is you don't lose a bunch of weight and then everyone thinks you look great. And that lasts so long. And then, you have a couple barbecues in the summer and it's over, right? That's not the plan. The plan here, and that's why we called it Real Steps. So good job, Scott. Yeah. Is that it really is just the beginning of improving how you feel in your own body. So there's things that get in the way of feeling good, and some of them are the food you put in it. Some is moving or not moving enough. Some of it is sort of you need vitamin C and you're going to get scurvy. Like there are some really basic things that we know a lot about, and we know a lot about human motivation, and we know why most of us struggle to do those basic things. But the big key here, and this is why this is different, I think, from other things, I can't find anything else like it, but is that I do the therapy. And that is how'd you develop your relationship with food? What has happened in your past that, and I would say this, say you're 25 and you diet for the first time, but then you spend the next 2 years dieting. You now have traumatic feelings and experiences around dieting that started in your adult life. And that matters just as much as if, you got food slapped out of your hand when you were 7 years old. So it's, instead of just kind of generic, like, work out more, it's about what are the things psychologically and emotionally that keep you behaving in a way that is not about loving your own body and knowing how it feels good. So that disconnect. So Scott, for example, eat a giant thing of Oreos right now after having no sugar for how long has it been?
3.5 months.
3.5 months. If I force fed you a giant pack of Oreos, how do you think you'd feel?
Horrible.
Right.
I would be sick as a dog.
Know?
It would be real bad.
How do you know you would feel that?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I don't actually know for sure, but I think I would, because when I was eating sugar and I would eat too many Oreos, I felt like crap. So I think that's why I would know.
Okay. So, but tell me, you've eaten a pack of Oreos in your life before and you weren't sick as a dog, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've gone.
So how's that possible?
I think because now I know, now that I don't have it, you normally lead up to that kind of bad choice. You know what I mean? Like if I'm in the past, if I ate a whole thing of Oreos, it's because I had conditioned myself to be okay with eating a bunch of Oreos in various quantities up till then, and then to eat a whole pack, no big deal.
You might have been stressed, and that was actually, you were getting dopamine to manage stress and not even realizing it. Maybe it wasn't even just that you could have trained yourself for the Oreo Olympics. It also might have been sort of medicine for other ailments happening psychologically or emotionally or whatever, right? Okay. But you are now really tuned into what putting something in your body feels like, because you're giving it attention and time has gone by. So the idea behind what we're doing is that it's slow. We're going to do this slow, and in a future date, maybe a year from now, you will feel the way you completely want to feel. It does not, all the promises that are super fast are garbage, and they lead you to feeling worse over time. So this will be familiar to anyone who's tried to lose weight. You will lose weight, then you will gain it back, and you will gain more. And that's because our bodies are built to do that if we treat them the way we do with dieting. So this is the opposite of all of that. This is, let's take care of your heart, your emotions, I mean by that, also your heart, but your emotions, your mental stuff, all the parts of you that would get ignored by working on being healthy physically, right?
Right.
And so we do that simultaneously as the other. So this group is going to be, I think we might end up doing it as a Facebook group this round anyway. And so you kind of have this cohort and support, and there's going to be lots of information. In fact, I haven't asked Scott this yet, or Brian, maybe you guys are willing to do a little live interview with us at one point about some things.
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Your own journeys. And then also we'll have, like Elena will do with me what she does with her clients real time, or even she could do it with Scott or Brian if you guys are interested. Or even we'll pick somebody out of the group to do it live if they're up for it. So we'll walk everybody through all the good stuff that we are going to do and what it means. And, so you're going to get the whole 9 yards. And then out of that group, my hope is we can have at least 40 or 50 people. We'll take as many, but that would be perfect. And then we're going to take 2 people from that group. And those 2 are going to get the for a month's worth of sessions for me, which is four sessions. And then it's like 3 or 4 sessions with her, and have a whole full diet, everything done for you. Not diet, it's not the right word. Nutrition plan.
Nutrition plan, yeah.
All of that stuff. So you get the full thing, but it's really hard to figure out how to pick those people. And so how it kind of works is everybody pays the same fee. And then if you want, you apply for the in-depth treatment.
Right. And
there will be a link to do that. And then we will screen you for a couple things. We can't have like a very serious eating disorder. We can't do it. Some other things, we're just going to find a candidate and you have to be willing to sign some things like I will do pre and post testing, lots of paperwork. So those two people will get the full 9 yards and kind of keep us all updated on how things are going along the way. And that's kind of how things are going to go. But
That's pretty cool. I like the sound of that. Yeah, it seems neat.
I think it'll be great.
Seems really good. I'm excited about it too, and I put my name in just because I want to see what emails you guys send. So you'll see mine in there, see Brian's in there, and yeah, we'd love to do that little sit down thing, and hopefully some. I shouldn't say I'm 100% sure, but I'm 99.9% sure there are going to be people in our audience who will definitely want to check this out. So go sign up for it. Get information as it comes at realsteps.org. I can't believe you got that domain. That's amazing.
I know, right? Realsteps.org. Also, it'll be up before next Thursday, and then next Thursday I'm going to pimp this one more time with all of it should be ready.
Mm-hmm. Yep, she did say pimp.
I said pimp. Pimp Real Steps. That's your anyway.
Pimpsteps.
Then I will. It's going to start on February. I should actually know this by heart. It's going to start on February 10th. So on February 6th will be sort of the end midnight on February 6th. So we'll do one more show that day, right? And I'll remind everyone by that day midnight, you have to have everything put in, and that way we can have time to choose the two people and get the group started, and then we'll have our first live thing on the 10th, and then it goes from the 10th until March 10th.
Okay.
So that's thing on March 10th. So 10th to 10th. At this point, everyone's New Year's resolution is dead, correct? And so this will be a nice.
Oh yeah.
Let's do it a real way, a slow way, a healthy way, and the whole goal in the end is that you just feel better.
Yeah.
And you like how you feel, and you know what to do to feel good is. I mean, no one ever teaches us this, right? We just guess. I mean, I ate peanut butter and Cheerios for like 21 years. You know what I mean? It's time. No, but I have figured out a lot of things just on my own. But Ellen is amazing.
Well, at least you were eating peanuts and oats, basically. Like at least that was that's not so bad.
So
that could be a lot worse.
Yeah, trust me, I'm not coming in as some. I've done this right in my life. I definitely have not, but it really is just a magical thing to connect to your own body and know you know what to do to feel good and love yourself enough to do it. And that's part of my job is you guys often, not you guys, but people often don't know how to love themselves. Like they don't have permission to, they've never done it. They have all these guilty feelings or whatever it might be. And so we're going to break it all down.
Sweet.
It'll be great.
I like it a lot. So again, it's realsteps.org, O-R-G. Go sign up, be a part of it. Wendy, have a fantastic week.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
See you next time. Bye. She hangs up almost as fast as I do, but not quite.
She does, but not as gracefully. It sounds like it, hit 3 fingers and a belt buckle on the way down.
Yeah, I just command cue that shit, but she's like slow collapse in the room.
That's right.
All right. Very cool. Let's now talk. Oh, let's talk Oscars, okay? For a minute.
Right. Let me go back up to that.
Yeah, let me do that real quick. All right, so we're gonna have a little bit of that going on today. So the Oscars are coming.
The Oscars are coming.
As you may be, and they're only gonna laugh at you. And we've talked about it a bit. You've talked about some of your favorites so far. You've got a couple more of the 10, do you?
No, I've seen them all.
You've seen them all. Okay, so Brian is in a unique position to sort of, I think, comment on this stuff. And so I want to tell you these odds for various categories, and you tell me how you think if this holds, okay?
Oh, okay, cool. Yes.
So
we're starting with
let's start with actor.
We're on the best actor. Okay.
Yeah. The odds they have. Okay, so this is all on ScreenRant.com. So this is them doing it, and then they give reasons why. But I'm going to give you the actual odds. They think Joaquin Phoenix's chance of winning for the Joker are 1 in 5.
In other words, it's not like 100 to 1. It's
Right.
like there's there's 5 times the likelihood that he's going to win.
Right. Versus not.
To the 1 likelihood that he doesn't.
Right.
Yes.
And then so as a comparison, they have Taron Egerton as Rocket Man, the Bohemian Rap, not that, the whatever it is.
The Rocket Man.
The Rocket Man. Elton John there. His odds are 50 to 1.
Right.
So do these jive so far? Do you look at those?
I think so.
Okay.
Because Joaquin not only got the Golden Globe for Best Actor for Joker, he also got the SAG Award. And the SAG Award is almost more of a barometer for Oscar wins than the Golden Globes.
Screen
Golden
Actors
Globes
Guild.
divide the field because they do the whole musical and comedy or drama,
Right.
different awards. And the SAG Awards are much more closely parallel the Oscars.
I should get a SAG award for certain sagging that I'm doing right now.
I have so much sagging going on.
There's
right
some
now.
gravitational pull happening in my life that I wasn't prepared for.
This makes me really happy because this increases the possibility that Parasite sees a Best Picture.
Oh, interesting.
Because they got their let me pull up the nominees and winners for the SAG Awards. Here we go. That is the one kind of weird category that they have that other ones don't, is the ensemble in a film. So they're more focused on the actors, Best Actor, Best Actress, supporting, etc. And then instead of a Best Picture, they've got Best Ensemble in a film, and Parasite took home the award for that.
Oh,
Well
nice.
deserved.
Okay, so it may well do. Tom Merritt says he just watched it his third time, I think.
Parasite?
Yeah, that's how much he likes that movie. Just keeps seeing
I love
it.
that movie. Yeah. Good for him. Oh, look at him. Sure.
All right, 9-1 for Adam Driver. Better chances than Edgerton, but still not great. DiCaprio, they're giving him a 75-1. That's a little high. That's a little higher than or a little harder than I thought it would be for him. But all right.
Yeah.
It says Ford versus Ferrari's Christian Bale. They have it not available.
Yeah, I don't know if that means that they just the numbers are too high for them to quantify, or if it's undecided. If all the other ones kind of snatch up so much of the pie that there really isn't much pie left for Christian Bale. I thought he was great, and he does that thing where he completely envelops himself in a role. So
now,
this is a rare occurrence where I love all 9. I love 8 of the 9 films. I'm not as crazy about The Irishman, just because I feel like on its own it's a good movie, but I don't feel like it's anything that we haven't seen before from Scorsese.
Yeah, good point. It is just kind of one of his movies, isn't it? It's not.
It is. It's it's one of those things. It's like, when I go to Red Robin, it's not the finest meal I'll ever have, but I know what I'm gonna get.
Yeah.
And it'll be really good for what I'm expecting. It'll fill that void of what I'm expecting really, really well.
Yeah.
But it's not like going to Ruth Chris Steakhouse or
or some surprising joint down the road you didn't know existed.
Right.
Like
exactly.
Something like Parasite, and you're like, whoa. Although I shouldn't say an eatery with parasites is a bad combination.
Yeah, let's not mention parasites and eateries.
So as I'm digging through this, I realized what this is. This list came out right before the Oscars were announced. So
oh, really? So this
they've
is
got
the odds of them getting nominated.
Yeah, they've got Adam Sandler in here. They've got Eddie Murphy in here.
Oh.
They've got people who weren't nommed. So
with Oscar nominations incoming, we take a look at the leading contenders. Yeah.
Look at me pulling the hot fresh link out of the thing there. They did get pretty dead on for the movies. So they've got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. They gave it 3-2 odds. 1917 2-1. Marriage Story 40-1. Did that end up getting a nom? I don't remember. Marriage Story did.
Which one? Marriage Story did. It's Best Picture nom, and I think a nomination for definitely a nomination for Scarlett in Best Actress.
Yeah.
And Laura Dern did get the supporting actress nomination too.
They got Joker in here at 60-1, but I don't think this list did very well. I don't think they nailed it, because a lot of these, Parasite, they gave it 7-1, so that's I guess that's okay. But like Jojo Rabbit, which did get nominated, 75-1.
And no mention of Banderas for Pain and Glory. No mention of Jonathan Pryce for The Popes.
Yep.
For the new young two popes.
Yep, that didn't happen.
The new pope, the young pope, and the two popes.
All the popes, all together at
all
last.
All the popes. Just vote for all the popes.
One thing I wanted to say about The Irishman that I totally forgot to say, in all my talk about it, my review of it originally, and my recommendal of it, all that, I think that Ray Romano should be in more things like this. He played the lawyer guy. And I like dramatic actor Ray Romano. almost more than I like comedian Ray Romano stand-up
Yeah,
guy.
you know what? I'm with you on that. I'm trying to think of what the
Do you remember that? Do you remember that short-lived record, 70s record movie or TV thing that was on HBO? Wasn't on very long.
Oh, Deuce.
Deuce.
Yeah, he was great.
He was great on that.
No, I'm sorry, not the Deuce.
No, not the
Vinyl.
Deuce. Vinyl. That's it.
Vinyl. It was. Oh, that show was so good.
Yeah, it had real
I
potential.
think I might have been the one who recommended it to you because somebody recommended it to me and I hadn't even heard of it.
I watched the
then.
first episode, and then about a week later, someone said, "Oh, they're canceling that." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to
Right.
go get invested in whatever's up there already." But
No,
he was great in it.
Cannavale, Bobby Cannavale was so great in that.
Yeah, he's great. He's also great. Both those
Mm-hmm.
guys, man. Put them in stuff. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell. You can never go wrong with Sam Rockwell. Elevates everything he's in.
Yeah, I agree.
Same with Cannavale and Romano.
Rockwell makes a bad movie watchable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm game a bad movie. I mean, I guess what the worst thing he's been in. Choke, the Chuck Palahniuk
Hold
adaptation.
on. I don't know if I never saw that. Was that bad?
I wouldn't even call it bad. I just think that it's not as good as Fight Club. It's not as good as his other things. I mean, Hitchhiker's Guide was okay, but if as a fan of the book, nothing's ever going to compare to the book for me. No TV version, no movie version.
Oh man, I just found out he was in the old Equalizer TV show as a character named Slick. I have to go find that.
Really?
Yeah, he was probably
Sam
a
Rockwell
teenager.
was?
He's probably like 12 or 13 or something then. Oh no, he'd have been older than that. He's probably in his 20s then, but still, that's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Okay, here you go. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1990. Head Thug.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. Are you saying Sam Rockwell was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, he was his credit is Head Thug in that.
And when we watched that for Film Sec,
Yeah.
none of us noticed that?
I think we did. Did we see that one or a sequel? No, that's the one we saw. Right?
Wow. Yeah, we didn't see the sequel yet. We saw the original.
Holy shit.
Jeez.
He's totally in that.
Oh, the Poltergeist. Was he in the Poltergeist remake?
I don't know.
No, that was Sam Neill. No, who was that? That we just saw.
Oh, that was Sam.
It was Coach, wasn't it?
Yeah, Coach was in the
Yeah.
sequel. Yeah,
Because he was in the first one too. Yeah.
yeah. I can't remember who.
I don't remember.
the
I don't
Sam
remember
is.
Sam Rockwell in there.
I don't either. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, yeah, and that was before that. It was like ABC After School Special, Clown House, The Equalizer, Joan Crawford's Children. like not a lot of stuff, but then things got great, and then he's in everything, and he's great. We love that guy.
Yeah.
All right, well that was
Just got
fun.
the SAG award for that Fosse limited series.
Fosse, who's it about?
Fosse, the dancer, the choreographer.
Oh,
Bob Fosse?
Bob
Bob
Fosse, is that the name?
Bob Fosse, there it is. Fosse Verdon.
Oh, there it is. Verdon miniseries. Oh yeah. There you go. Oh, look at him with the hair, with the bald head.
He beat Mahershala Ali for True Detective, Jared Harris for Chernobyl, Jerome Jerome for When They See Us to
Wow.
get the SAG award for that one.
I hadn't even heard of this. I'd watch that.
Mm-hmm.
I like historical biography stuff. Or as Brian and I were schooled on by somebody, is it biopic or biopic?
Biopic. I used to say biopic, and then I'm like, well, no, I guess it's a biographical picture. Biopic.
Yeah, so biopic. Yeah, but who was giving us heat on that? What was that about?
It was somebody on Twitter, and he wasn't really giving us heat. He was somebody had started a Twitter thing saying, "Is it pronounced bio or biopic or biopic?"
Oh.
And their argument was, well, you say biography, you do, but you say biographical.
Yeah, biographical.
You don't say it's a biography picture. You say it's a biographical picture.
Biography. I hope when they write my biography. Yeah,
Right.
English. What are you gonna do?
Anyway.
All right, well, that's it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for being here for this slightly out-of-order show. But don't worry, we'll be back Monday with a fresh take, fresh hot new take. For those of you who are patrons, you'll get a PMSPM this weekend, so watch for that. That'll be on your feeds. And since the YouTube channel's back, I should be able to use that for a private, for the private stream bit,
Oh, yeah, okay.
because I think that's how I'm going to have to do it. I don't think Twitch offers a way to do that, unless I just don't know. I'll work on it between now and tomorrow and figure it out. But Anyway, we'll be doing that. Dan will be back. He's got a great story to tell, so we'll get to all that tomorrow. In the meantime, speaking of Patreon, patreon.com/TMS is the place to go. For everything else, go to the frogpants.com/TMS site. That's frogpants.com/TMS. Now we'll listen to music, not on YouTube, but by ourselves on the radio.
That's right, exactly.
Brian, what do you got?
If you're watching this on YouTube, sing to yourself quietly. Mrs. Taffy Guy, a.k.a. Lois Haley, a.k.a. Loey D, in the chat room says, hello, Suture and Band-Aid. First off, Scott, I'd like the 10 shortest jury clips you've got.
Oh, my gosh. Really? All right. 10 shortest that I have?
Yeah. Do you have a way of
I do.
organizing them? Okay.
It's by file size, so it'll have to do. But it used to be by time, but... all right, so Justin, wait, we're looking for, I think I list them all as Justin, not jury. So here we go. Okay, these are the, and let's do by size. These are the most, oh, it doesn't have a listing for size. Well, I'll just play, you know what, I only have 10 of them. Let's just play them all. Okay. Ready?
No, let's play them all.
Here we go.
Demak and Gillijad at Tangara.
One of my favorite things he ever said. It's pretty good.
They removed the penis before you snort it.
We're going to crypto coin, goddammit. You son of a bitch.
All right.
You're making a straw man.
Well, all right, is that, and then...
And that's why the media's doing my move.
All right.
The jury will now retire.
Oh, that's the thing I wrote. Okay.
Wild Bill Clinton scandalizing these youths with his penis.
There you go.
Okay. Well, that last clip, there were not two N's in Clinton.
Oh, let's play it again.
Left off
Bill
the first
Clinton.
Clinton.
I guess it was a
Wild Bill Clinton scandalizing.
All right, okay. I just wanted someone to share in my
I thought I heard it too. So
yeah.
I'm
All
with
right.
you.
Anyway,
I'm with you.
Okay. So there you go. Lois. Enjoy that. On January 23rd, today, I will be going under the robot arms to have revision surgery from gastric sleeve to the gastric bypass. I'm having this done to solve my issues with acid reflux and other stuff that goes with it. I'd love to have this song played as a reminder to my taffy guy that despite the rough crap life is throwing at us, Michael, I'm glad you'll always be there for a warm embrace to remind me of our love. Thanks for the laughs, giggles, support, and one of the best groups of nerds and distracting bunch of freaks in the world.
Wow.
Signed, Mrs. Taffy Guy, a.k.a. Louie D, a.k.a. Lois.
Nice.
All right, the song today is covered by J.J. Heller, originally done by Bob Dylan. You'll find this on an album, I think it's called Volume 2. It's not in my iTunes because I have to do things a different way today, as you might have guessed. Oh, it's called I Dream of You, Volume 2. And on here, you'll find a cover of, I love this, a cover of the Mr. Rogers song, It's Such a Good Feeling. And if you don't start your day with that every day, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Here's J.J. Heller and her cover of Make You Feel My Love.
All right, everybody collectively wish Brian luck with his music giant playlist problem, and may we all come together again at the hot fires of TMS on Monday. We'll see you all then. This show is part of the Frog Pants Network.
Frog Pants Network.
Get more shows like this at frogpants.com. There's another old one.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah. Hey, real quick note.